The football shape is everything. It allows for 60-yard bombs with near-perfect trajectory to land softly in a receiver's hands as he crosses the end zone. It creates chaos on fumbles, when the ball bounces around and slips through players' fingertips. And on kickoffs, as the ball tumbles through the air end over end, unlike any other in sports. While much may be known about football, the ball's shape is still puzzling. When was the ball invented? And how did it get its shape? How are footballs made, and who makes them? And most importantly, how is the shape of the ball shaped the way football is played? Let's unravel the curious, yet often overlooked question of why the football isn't round. In a sport filled with so much uncertainty, the centerpiece of the game may be the most random aspect of them all. The football, the most unique, oddly shaped ball in all of sports, came to be in 1869, when pig bladders were inflated, and the term pigskin was born. The pig bladders, due to their inherent differences, led to inconsistencies between balls, each one being unpredictable in both size and shape. The scoring system was built on a goal, where each team, composed of 20 or so players, attempted to kick or bat the ball through the opposing team's goal. At this time, the game was structured more like soccer, but with tackling. As a result, players mostly kicked the ball, making the shape of the pigskin less important. In 1874, as the game began to develop, a newly shaped ball, modeled after a rugby ball, was introduced. This new ball was shaped like a watermelon, and while still difficult to throw downfield, made laterals and pitches much easier, further innovating the game. The game was still very mob-like, with 15 players on each team still playing at a time. But it wouldn't be for long, as a talented Yale athlete named Walter Camp sought to further formalize the game. In 1878, the father of American football, Walter Camp, sought to make drastic improvements to the game. In an effort to open up the field of play and put a greater emphasis on speed as opposed to strength, Camp suggested a reduction in players on the field, from 15 to 11. The new rule was passed in 1880, and American football as we know it began to take shape. In that same year, Camp also managed to pass rules on the line of scrimmage and snap from center to quarterback. The snap was originally executed by the foot of the center, but was shortly changed, allowing the center to use his hands to snap the ball. However, in 1905, things had started to get ugly. 19 players had died from injuries while playing football, and a call to remove the sport from play altogether began to echo across the United States. Football likely would have been dead, and nothing but a footnote in the history of sports, if not for the work of one very important individual, President Theodore Roosevelt. Roosevelt was a massive football fan, and while in his youth he may have been too small to play, he developed a love and passion for the game that stuck with him for life. In 1905, after hearing word of the tragic injuries and deaths many were suffering from playing football, Roosevelt made a call to action. He hosted the 3 most influential coaches at the time, one of which was Camp, and encouraged the coaches to change the game in order to save it. As a result, 62 schools met in New York City, forming the Intercollegiate Athletic Association of the United States, which would later become the National College Athletic Association, or NCAA. 19 rule changes came about, including the birth of arguably the most important rule in football, the addition of the forward pass. In 1920, Spalding became the official football of the American Professional Football Association. It became even more egg-shaped, leading to improved aerodynamic capabilities, further innovating the downfield passing game. In 1935, the ball was shortened to 11 inches, and the prolate spheroid, the shape the NFL ball still has to this day, came into existence. In 1941, Wilson took over for Spalding as the official ball maker of the National Football League, and has continued making balls for the league ever since. In 1926, as night games began to take place in the NFL, the league introduced a white football. The ball's purpose was simple: to improve visibility in case the floodlights being used on the field were inadequate. The white football was used up until 1950, but inevitably became extinct. As players complained about the grip of the ball, the material made it rather slippery. While the shape and efficiency of the ball became increasingly more regular over the years, the production technology changed, allowing for near uniformity from football to football. Today, the football is now made of cowhide. The process is started by cutting out 4 sections that make up each quadrant of the ball's skin. Next, the ball is branded with the logo necessary, and the cotton linings are sewn into all 4 sections of the ball to strengthen the skin. The top and bottom sections are then sewn together, and a valve for inflating the ball is added. Next, the 2 sets of quadrants are sewn together, the bladder is inserted and inflated, and the laces are added. When all is said and done, the ball weighs around 15 ounces and is 21 inches around. Wilson, as previously mentioned, is still the producer of the NFL football and makes every single one of the roughly 27,000 footballs the NFL uses in a single year. They've mastered the art of producing the ball and have played a major role in the improvements of its unique shape over the years, a shape that allows for some of the most exciting gameplay in all of sports. The physics behind football are absolutely fascinating and are mostly due to the ball's shape. The prolate spheroid causes a flight more unique than any other ball, the spiral motion. In other sports that use a perfect sphere, like baseball, basketball, and tennis, the ball is rotated near uniformity, although dimples in a golf ball and seams in a baseball can affect the ball's motion when moving at high velocities. When it comes to the football, the ball spirals through the air, and the perfect spiral decreases air resistance the ball experiences, allowing the ball to travel faster and further than it would have if it were differently shaped, or not spiraling. Think of the way a jet plane nose looks. Its similar cone-like shape mirrors that of the football, allowing for decreased air resistance and more efficient flying. Because of this, there is an inherent advantage to spiraling a ball. It travels more quickly, more efficiently through the air than the alternative, what many refer to as a wounded duck or an imperfectly thrown ball. In short, quarterbacks who throw a perfect ball are, in theory, more efficient passers than those who don't. Although many quarterbacks throughout the history of football have managed to achieve greatness, even without throwing a perfect spiral. When it comes to kicking a ball, things change a bit. On punts, a well-struck ball travels similarly to a pass, making it a more efficient method than other kicks. The field goal and kickoff, however, are where things get really interesting. Due to the ball's shape that so often gives it an advantage when flying through the air in its spiral motion, the motion the ball takes on a field goal or kickoff actually works against it. The air resistance experienced increases tremendously because the ball travels end over end, thus requiring more force to achieve similar distance to that of a thrown pass or a punted kick. But with the inception of the new kickoff rules in the NFL, things have changed even more. Harrison Butker, the star kicker for the Chiefs, has not only made headlines for his wild new kickoff strategy, but really takes full advantage of the ball's shape. In the Chiefs' most recent game against the Jaguars, Butker opted against the traditional end-over-end style, hang-time dependent kick that many kickers have been using, and instead hit more of a slider-style kick, with side spin. The kick was perfectly executed, moving hard from the kicker's right to left, and fooled the return man, allowing the Chiefs to pin the Jags deep in their own territory. As time goes on, more and more kickers will start to do this, and in turn, will take advantage of the football's shape, utilizing the unique aerodynamics of the ball to fool returners. And while this new style of kick is much more complicated when considering other factors like the angle the ball is kicked at, that's where things start to get too complex. Long story short, the spiral is the most efficient, but the end-over-end or side-spinning kicks exhibited on kickoff or field goal lend unique advantages as well. The ball's shape is, in itself, a marvel. It allows for insane passes, wild catches, weird deflections, and unpredictable bounces on fumbles that make the game so different and football so enjoyable. Over the years, the rules of football and the way the game is played has changed. But for many decades, the ball has remained the same, true to its beautiful, unique shape. It's hard to imagine what the game would be like if the ball was round, but thankfully, we don't have to. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to check out our last video that investigated the Manning family's rise to fame. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more football content, please don't forget to like and subscribe.